Hello everybody, so this is a video about what I've learned so far having to do with East Africa Showcase and our networking events. I started this on July 7th of 2024. We had much better weather back in those days, but our weather will be improving as the days and months go on. Everyone knows with any activity, it's like the first three and a half months of the year up until Easter, mid-April. We have a situation where the weather makes things difficult. It makes it difficult to move. It makes it difficult to be places, and that's definitely not good for the economy because it's basically only essential services work on snow days and things of that nature. But we're moving through. My commitment in this period of time, this winter, has been to create more topics that matter and posting online more. So that's what I've been doing, and today's video is going to be about what I've learned so far in doing East Africa Showcase and venturing out into the whole realm of business. So as everyone knows with business, you have unlimited potential, but the same way that you have unlimited potential, you have unlimited risk. So what I've really learned is that it's best to not fall into the temptation of spending all your limited money all in one place or spending it all at one time. Remember that it took you years to save up whatever's in your bank account, whether someone has a bigger bank account or a lesser bank account. It took you many years, unless you inherited it. It took you many years to build up your bank account, and even not being in debt, that is a positive thing. That is a very, very positive thing. I continue to believe that probably the only reasons you would ever want to be in debt is for housing. You want to buy a house, it's your dream to be a homeowner, or in terms of personal transportation, private transportation. You finance a car so that you don't use up all your ammunition, all your money on the car, and still have some liquid cash left over. Because really nobody knows what's going to happen 5 days from now, 5 months from now, or 5 years from now. It's up to us. The decisions that we make today are what's going to create the conditions for success later on. And really, the networking events are all about communication. So communicating with new people and finding new insights. Similar to being in a classroom. A classroom, I would say, is a networking event too, because you learn from the person that's in front of the classroom, you learn from the teacher, but you also learn from the people surrounding you as well. So yeah, it's really a learning experience. It's something that you got to keep at it. You can't let one person's negative comment that probably it may not be on the basis of fact. It may not be on the basis of fact, but sometimes, if you ask 100 people for their opinion, you have many people that have negative comments and you have many people that have positive comments. So I would say go to the people who are attending, who have supported you from the beginning, and ask them for their feedback, because generally they'll give you the honest opinion. If someone returns to your business and returns to spend money on you, your products, and your services, that's a choice. That's a choice. The first time you can be convinced, maybe your friends told you to do this, or maybe you saw it on the internet, you want to try something new. But the idea of someone coming back and revisiting a business, returning to a business, that's a choice. That's a conscious choice that people make. So just keep going with it. But the product experience, before you spend thousands of dollars on anything, the product experience must be ready to go before you even start thinking about spending money on marketing, spending money on space. As you know, property, plant, and equipment, that's a fixed cost. You're a homeowner, landlord, actually, doesn't really care about what your income is, what your sales are, what your profit margins are. That is not their interest. Their interest is collecting the rent that you agreed to pay when you signed the lease on the first of the month. Exact same thing with residential. Residential They ask you for the employment letter, they ask you for the credit score to protect themselves from being scammed and protect themselves from having someone that's not going to pay rent, that pays rent for 1 month and then doesn't pay for 6 months. And then, the cycle continues until you evict them. Because evicting someone is actually something that takes a lot of effort. There's a human rights thing, violation that has, you know, landlord and tenant board that's got to create the court order to evict someone. But it's the same thing with a commercial business. They're really not interested with what you're doing in the space on a day-to-day business. And without the marketing, you won't be able to reach new audiences. And if you don't reach new audiences, you'll be sitting in a room by yourself. And that's not good. So really business relies on transactions, and it relies on someone making plans and saying, today I am going to go out and I'm going to spend money on this. Generally, that's the way you can become successful at business, is getting out people's minds and having them have some positive feeling about what you're doing. But that doesn't happen immediately. I recently heard about the YouTube story, and YouTube, it was like 4 or 5 guys that created it, and they had 40 videos uploaded to YouTube. They were creating all the videos for YouTube, and it wasn't catching on. They didn't have any advertisers, of course. No one really even understood what they were trying to do. Like, why would I sit? At that time, there were no mobile phones, there were no videos, no smartphones. So why would I sit in front of a computer and watch videos when I can just watch videos on TV, professional television? And now here we are, 2025. You ask any child what's their favorite TV show, they'll tell you about their favorite YouTuber or their favorite streamer, but they won't know anything about what's on television. So you got to keep going, even through the self-doubt, even through external sources of doubt. You keep going. And business is really not about tearing anyone down or running someone out of business. Competition, yeah, of course there's competition. You always got to pay attention to what people are doing. And if that has a positive effect in the marketplace, people are attracted to it, then you have to find a way to adapt and create something similar. Have that new idea incorporated in your business as well. So yeah, it takes time for these things. Really, it's not until you get hundreds of videos online and you have a catalog of videos and content that people can watch, people can show their friends, their family members, who you are, and that is what is going to motivate people to attend your events, whatever it may be. As for the marketing itself, so far I've been doing some things online and in person, and really it has to be an all of the above communication strategy. If it's not an all of the above communication strategy, it's not going to work, because I didn't want to be online, I didn't want to be on camera, because I knew that all the comments would be negative. And then I figured out how to turn off comments, so now I don't even get notifications, I don't have anything. If someone has something to say, they can contact me directly. But direct in-person communication is what works best in terms of getting people interested and describing your product. But it has to be online and in person, because it's not realistic to contact 100 different people, talk to them personally, in person, and try to convince them to attend your event. So with one video, you could reach thousands of people. And some people will look at it and not care about it. Some people will say, oh, I really want to, I think that's going to improve my life in some way, so I'm going to show up to the networking event. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just don't give up. Direct in-person communication is what works. And don't fall for the temptation of spending a lot of money quickly, thinking that the more you spend, the more money you're going to make in return. No, really, no customer is ever going to visit your business and ask you how much you're paying for your inventory, how much you're paying for marketing, how much you're paying for the space, property, plants, and equipment. They don't care. They care about the product, and they care about, really, if it's food. Generally, people are picking it up and taking it to go. But those are your problems as the business, the expenses, and you have to manage the expenses as best you can, and you have to manage the communication strategy. And the communication strategy, if it's not a daily thing, it's at least it has to be a weekly thing, where people are reminded about what you're doing and how great it is. Because I really think that business is the future. As an example, you can make $1 million from a business, but you can't make $1 million from a job generally. Generally, $1 million a year. You can make perhaps 100,000. But if you live in Toronto, you'll know the fact is that there aren't that many $100,000 jobs out there that are waiting for you to apply for them. So, but getting to that $1 million business will require thousands of customers, because affordability is a key thing. You really need to look at affordability and accessibility. So, even if it's free, if you're asking people to travel 1 hour by transit in February, it doesn't matter how much they love you, they're not going to make that trip 1 hour one way and 1 hour back. They're going to spend more time traveling than they are at the actual event. Whether they're driving or whether they're taking public transit, it's all the same, because the time that you're in a car can be spent doing other things, more productive things, more useful things. So always try to go to market. In business, you are creating products, goods, and services to go to market. The market doesn't come to you, generally, unless it's within walking distance. So far, the recreation centers, community centers have been working well. Wellesley Community Center is one of the best designed community centers. You won't find too many community centers like it. And the location is accessible. So that's why it's always, generally, it's full of people in the evenings. And so far the community centers are working well. You must book in advance. You must book at least 6 weeks in advance, and it might take you 6 weeks to get a response. And I'm not blaming anyone. They're doing their job, and they're managing their workload as they can. But I just wish there was an online booking system where you could see when the room is available, book the date and time that you want, submit the payments, and it would be done. Because if it's taking this long to respond, they must have the people in charge of reservations and booking the rooms must have other things that are more important. But hopefully we'll get there. They keep talking about an online booking system, and if it comes into fruition, you'll hear about more in-person events at Wellesley Community Center. But I think I'm going to end this video here so far. In business, try to spend hundreds of dollars before you spend thousands of dollars. Don't think that by spending $5,000, you're going to make $5,000 next week or next month. You're not going to make thousands of dollars from one transaction, generally. Think about it. In your life, personal life, besides groceries, how often do you spend more than $100 anywhere? Probably never, unless you're buying a gift or you're buying technology or you're buying furniture or something. Generally, you spend money on essentials, and those essentials, you're trying to get them at the most affordable price possible. Maybe for gas, depending on the car that you're driving, you might spend $100 on gas, but generally, you're looking at spending less than $50. So, affordability is key, accessibility is key, and really trying to change things up. Innovation is what carries the technology industry. It's why so many people want to take computer science and other things. So innovation, you got to keep trying, get creative, and do as much as you possibly can to satisfy and delight the customer. Satisfaction is what keeps you in business. Delightful experiences are what grow your business. And the best way to stay in business is to grow your business. So please share this video to a friend or a family member. And if they ask you why, just tell them it might be subscribing to our channels. East Africa Showcase might be the best decision they ever make. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Thanks for watching.